Hello everyone, Captain Clayface here, poking his head up out of hibernation to bring you another episode of Imma, Sculpt. If you are joining us for the first time, what I do each episode is sculpt things out of clay with varying degrees of success, so make sure to like and subscribe because you wouldn't want to miss anything like that now, would you? The subject of today's sculpture comes from a small, not very well known game called The Last of Us. Now, The Last of Us is a feel-good story where nothing bad ever happens and everyone gets a giraffe. They also made an even lesser-known Last of Us TV series where nothing bad ever happens, and there are positively no cannibals. Now, there are plenty of things that I could have picked to sculpt from The Last of Us, but I decided to go with one of the most misunderstood creatures in the entire series, the clicker. Now, clickers are poor, unfortunate souls with a debilitating fungal infection that causes them to grope around blindly for hugs and kisses that nobody wants to give up without a struggle. Perfect place to start for a sculpture. Got my wire armature ready to go here with some aluminum foil to bulk it up a bit. I'll be using a Super Sculpey beige polymer clay for the entirety of this sculpture. They do not pay me to say that, it is just what I use. For a non-professional like me, polymer clay just works best for the things that I like to make. It holds detail very well, it's easy to find in my area, and I can bake it in a normal oven. I sculpted my clicker wearing pants and a t-shirt that it probably bought at Kohl's or Old Navy because they're in the same strip mall as the store where he gets his clay and other art supplies. And I think it's good to make up backstories for your subjects, really walk around in their headspace. Like I imagined that this guy, before he became a clicker, before he was down with the sickness, he was probably just a regular guy, maybe a recovering alcoholic, who took up sculpting to try to stay sober, but then turned it into a lifelong passion, went on to make YouTube videos, something like that. I don't know, I'm just spitballing here. All kidding aside though, having a story for your character just helps you add details. Like this guy has Old Navy pants. His Old Navy pants need pockets, they need a zipper. Just little things like that you can add. These little tools with the silicone tips are probably my favorite for making clothing folds. I probably got like 50 of them. I maybe use 3 of them, but I use them a lot. Here I'm just adding some battle damage to his strip mall clothes, because let's face it, this dude ain't out there living his best life. Probably hasn't been for a while. You know what I'm saying? I actually just took 2 hunks of clay, stuck them to the front of the legs, and called them feet. And it actually looks pretty good. It turned out okay. If you're making your own sculpture, maybe you can spend a little bit more time on the feet, but I got other things to do. I'm a grown man. Do you think Bloodborne's gonna beat itself for the 100th time without my help? No, not happening. Oh, and normally I would use some kind of wire support for the fingers, and I didn't here. And that comes back to bite me. Foreshadowing. You just gotta love those beautiful little moments where you're sculpting teeth, taking your time to make sure they look great, you got your shot lined up, and your finger blocks the entire thing. Beautiful. Okay, at this point our clicker has been cured in the oven. He's ready to be painted. I use acrylic water-based paints on pretty much all of my sculptures. I use the matte finish instead of the satin or gloss. I just think it looks better, and if you really want it gloss after the fact, there's some different glazes you can put on over the paints to make it glossy. But once you paint it gloss, you're kind of stuck with gloss. So I go with matte. And remember earlier when I talked about putting wire in the fingers for support? Right there. I knocked his finger off. And there is your clicker, sculpted, baked, and painted. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for joining us in another episode of Imma Sculpt. If you were directed here from my daughter Courtney's channel, thank you for supporting her, and thanks for stopping in to check out me, and I hope to see you guys on the next episode. See ya.